Michael Lombardi, thank you so much for joining me today on Misunderstood. How are you?
I am great. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. It's been a long time coming. It's
I
hard to
know.
get on
I'm
this show.
I'm
I
so
think I could play Augusta before I could get on this show. It's harder.
God. Well, I've wanted you on the show for a long time, but I wanted to make sure that it was the right time. Like I said to you, when I first wanted you on the show, I thought it was appropriate because everybody went into a tailspin over the Taylor and Travis thing. So I felt like it would be fun to have you on to give us the basics of just football and how it's played. So us women could pay attention in all our, in all our Swifty gear, which now became the Kelsey gear, right? But now it's translated that like all the kids games and things that people were doing are now all about football. So everyone knows how to play the game and watch the game. Now it's gotten a little complicated with this NIL stuff, and now you have this hot new job. And so I figured it's your time. I want to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I think what's happened is college football has decided to become a professional sport, and obviously because of the television revenue and the impact and the court case that the players deservingly won. Because look, there was a time where at the University of Alabama, out-of-state tuition was probably very minimal. Now it's $65,000 to go to Alabama if you're out of state. And, a lot of that is because people have seen Alabama on television playing football. Same thing here at North Carolina. If you're out of state and you try to get into the University of North Carolina, 2% of the people get in, no one else. And
Right.
so, unless you're an athlete, it's hard. And a lot of that is the appeal of the sports programs, whether it's football or basketball.
Right. Okay. So before we get into all the details of that, I actually want to find out a little bit about you. Like, tell me where you were born. What kind of family were you born into? Did you always want to be in football?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I was born in a family. I was born in a time where, there wasn't a lot of football on television, but when it was, there was this guy on the sidelines in a camel jacket, and he had olive skin and a big nose, and I thought he should have been at all our family dinners on Sunday, and his name was Vince Lombardi, no relation, and I thought, I want to be just like him, and so I followed that path. I learned a lot about him from reading books. And I decided to go to college to really with the idea that I wanted to get into football. I wanted the world gets out of the way for people that know where they wanted to go. And when I was 12 or 13, I knew I wanted to get into this occupation. And then I had great motivation. And we don't always have mentors that live next to us, but I consider Bruce Springsteen one of my greatest mentors because his words and his music were so instrumental for me to cross Highway 9, to go chase my dream, to prove that some kid that grew up on a beach town, with surfers and on a little island where no one thought you could leave from, could actually go out and chase their dream. And so when that screen door slams and Mary's dress sways, you got to go. And so I did.
Oh, I love that story. So what was your first job in football?
My first job was when I went to Hofstra University in Long Island, and I had this old electric typewriter that I would send letters to every single coach in the country, with stamps, and all that. And I got two offers. I got a job at Illinois State, and I got a job at UNLV, and I picked the job at UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And I went out there for no money. Basically, they gave me a dorm room and they gave me a bunch of Burger King coupons to eat off of or go to the Holiday Inn buffet for $4.
No
And I
way.
just started working, and I chased my dream. I think to me, when you want to do something, it's really it doesn't matter. And I always believed that you had to find something that you were passionate about. I grew up in this beach town and I worked on my uncle's trash truck, and I knew I didn't want to do that.
Right.
I knew that wasn't fun. But when I was a bartender, I knew that was fun. And so I was going to do something that was fun that I didn't think was work. And I've never really, since then, I've never worked a day in my life.
Right. So you've had over 30 years of this really remarkable career. Can you tell us some of like your highlights, things that stand out to you as your proudest moments or things you really just, are going to be forever in the front of your mind?
Well, I think, look, anytime I've been blessed to be around some incredible people. I wrote about it in my one book, Gridiron Genius. To
Mhm.
work for Coach Walsh was probably one of the highlights of my life. To be around someone who was one of the true pillars of this league, who invented an offense. And then, of course, to work with Coach Belichick and to work for Al Davis. I'm one of the only people on planet. I am the only person on planet Earth that has been to a Super Bowl with Bill Walsh, Al Davis, and Bill Belichick. So that's really my career is about winning. It's about who I've been able to learn the game of football from, and hopefully make a contribution towards helping the team win. So that's what I'm most proud about. And what I'm also proud about is I've been able to keep my family together, and my two sons have actually wanted to get into this industry. One's the 49er quarterback coach, and the other one's the right here on North Carolina's coaching staff. So,
Oh,
that
wow.
gives me a great sense of pride too. But I think career-wise, being able to work with some of these incredibly talented people and learn from them was why I wrote Gridiron and why I'm so thankful.
Right. So, as we all know, not every day is a great day. And there's a Navy SEAL term called easy day where they talk about, like the hardest day you've been through, but you're able to overcome the obstacles and learn from them. Is there something that stands out to you as something that was a really tough day or a tough time where things that you learned from it is what you carry with you now and it's lessons that you learned throughout your career?
Rachel, that's a great question. So I'm in the scouting profession, so I grade people for a living. And that's what most people do. You meet somebody on the street or have a conversation, you're essentially grading their character. Do I want to continue talking to this person? Do I not? And I think the only way you learn about people is through the mistakes you've made. And so I always say this, if you ever talk to a college scout, professional scout on football, baseball, doesn't matter, and they talk to you about the all the players they found, they're a bad scout. Where if they talk to you about the players they screwed up on or they misevaluated, they're a really good scout, because life is about the lessons learned. And there's so many of them that I learned. There's so many days that you just sit there and shake your head and say, what happened? What did I do wrong? But if you're really good, you get back up the next morning and you say, that's not going to happen again. We're going to get better than that. We're going to prove ourselves. So all the disappointment, the heartache, losing a Super Bowl to Tampa Bay, maybe not signing a free agent, getting ready to draft, Warren Sapp when we couldn't draft him, all those things that go into your career, that are disappointments, they're the greatest lessons learned. And so I wear them proudly.
I love that. I truly believe in like life being like a pendulum, that to the extent that you have failures or you feel pain is the same extent that you see success and feel joy. So I firmly believe in that. I love that you said that. All right, so let's talk about you moving into college football now. You've been a GM in pro sports. What's the difference between the two?
Really, just the NC2A understanding what the compliance is, what you can and can't do based on the rules. Now in the NFL, we have rules, right? So you know what you can and can't do in the NFL, and that's pretty clear. I mean, in the NFL, I could go have lunch with a player and buy him lunch and not get in trouble. And in the NC2A, I can't do that.
Right.
Or we could bring a player into our facility and feed him, and in the NC2A, we can't do that, if it's not an official visit. So I think the hardest challenge is learning about the rules and what you can and can't do. The first day we were here, we took a picture when a player was signing his scholarship offer, and we had no idea that we weren't allowed to be in the room,
Hmm.
because it would appear that we were enticing the kid to sign the deal. So
Wow.
a little of those things that go that would just the common sense things that you would think would be no big deal end up being a big deal. So I have to spend a lot of time with our compliance people here at the University of North Carolina, who are wonderful, telling me about what I can and what I can't do.